on, guys?
Hey, you guys, we're back.
How we doing? This is our podcast, Saved. I'm Aaron Emanuel.
And I'm Darcy Emanuel, and we're just here to get you to open up your mind, body, spirit. Hopefully,
Welcome you.
yes, hopefully that you get something out of this, and if you do, please share it with somebody that you know could get something from it as well. Bless you.
Thank you. I need to get that out.
But today we're going to talk about stress. I have a history of this, and I feel like I should just share kind of how I've learned to cope with it, you know?
And I feel like my
Aaron's-
male side,
yeah.
I feel like there are certain times in my life where I felt stressed and I never really want to admit it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like you're
there's
ashamed or something?
well, not ashamed, but just stress relievers that maybe I go to try to ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's good as well. Sometimes,
Yeah.
bottling stuff up.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times, depending on what end of the spectrum you're on or like what you've been through in your life, some people think anxiety like isn't real. But I mean, I honestly was one of those people that I thought anxiety was like just all in your head until I actually experienced like a real anxiety attack, and it's one of the scariest things I've ever been through in my life.
And it is real.
Yeah, and you kind of had a front seat to all of that, so I think
Right.
it'll be good to get like your perspective for someone who is in a relationship with someone and they kind of like belittle that person or, aren't necessarily sure how to deal with their significant other's stress, you know what I mean? Or be understanding of it, but like you've been very understanding the whole time. You've always, tried to help me in any way that you can. And yeah, there's been different points in my life when it's been heightened, but I feel like I do a decent job. I wouldn't say I'm perfect, but I definitely do a decent job, and I've learned a lot about myself on how to cope with it. And that's really what I would like to share with you guys, because I technically should probably be on medication for it, but I'm not for taking medication. I'm for like figuring out how to naturally
Cope your way through it.
yeah, and heal from it. Because, I mean, I know well enough now, like, when I'm getting that way, what I need to do. And I think that's the key, is, like, learning the best you can about, your situation and
Well,
how to cope with it.
So let's go over what are the basic things that people stress over.
So, essentially, there's 3 different types of stress. There's, so it all comes from our hypothalamus of our brain, and it increases, our cardiac response, so like our heart beats a lot faster. It increases your adrenal glands, so that's like your fight or your flight. So people who have chronic stress are constantly in that like fight or flight mode, ready to go, which in turn increases, the hormones, the cortisol hormone within your body, which is your stress hormone, and it can cause numerous side effects like chronic fatigue, headaches, overthinking. I mean, that's
But
the
sometimes
key thing.
people don't even know that they're in it. Like,
No, because there's good stress as well. I don't know the specific name for it, but there's good stress, like the everyday stresses of life that like, oh, you have a deadline for work, okay, that's a good stress because when you get that done, maybe you'll get a bonus, or, you're stressed about a new promotion, or, things like that. There's good stress, and then there's chronic stress, and then there's like debilitating stress. And debilitating stress oftentimes coincides with depression. Not everybody that has anxiety or overthinking is depressed. Like it coincides with one another. The more stress that you get and the less you're able to cope with it, a lot of times it leads to depression.
Right.
But chronic stress is much, much higher in women, and a lot of times it's from past traumas in their life, or it passes through genetics, but they found that, your ability to cope with the environment around you and your ability to cope with that gene truly determines whether or not you're going to continue to pass that gene on,
Right.
or if you're going to deal with it and you're going to like move past that gene. Because essentially we all kind of, yes, it is genetic, but it's not like proven that you're going to have anxiety just because, your parents did.
Right.
Because we all go through different stages of life and we all experience different things in life.
And that can arouse or bring upon you what might have caused that stress in the past.
Exactly.
So it's sometimes it's hard to tell where that stress or where that panic might come from.
But it's important to figure it out.
Exactly.
Like if you grow up and you never knew when food was going to be on your table next, or you got beat up as a child by someone in your family, or you got sexually abused by someone in your family, and you're not you never really dealt with that, you have a much higher chance of continuing to stay in that chronic stress state for the rest of your life.
But how do you deal with something like that? Because the thing about it is everybody has, what I guess their secret of something that I could never tell my friend that, but how do they even get to the point where they feel comfortable enough to talk about it, to relieve that stress, because talking about it and getting it off their chest would probably help them immensely, that they have no idea, right? But it's just bottled up inside for how long, and they don't know how to get it out.
So I had never really talked to somebody in mental health, let alone like a psychiatrist or a counselor or anything like that. I'd never talked to anyone like that. I didn't really know anything about it, but when I had my anxiety attack, and went to the hospital and they found out my potassium was low, whatever. When that happened, they forced me to go to 3 counseling sessions, and it helped me deal with a lot. Like, it helped me cope with a lot. So I would say, like, if you're at the point where you don't know where to turn and you don't know how to deal with your past and you do have some demons that you got to work through, I mean, that's the number one way that you're going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But as far as you yourself, if you're trying to, like, deal with that, the number one thing that they've said is, like, clean nutrition. Because if you have chronic stress and then you're going out and eating all this crap, like, you're going to have
It's not going to help your body.
No, you're going to have a much higher chance of chronic diseases. So, like, cardiovascular disease, increased chance of heart attack.
And you are what you eat.
Yeah, it's insane.
Right.
It's really insane.
I know one of the ways that when I was stressed that I would deal with it was working out. And still to this day, like, if I'm feeling upset or if I'm feeling stressed about something, that might be going on, working out is a good reliever for me to be able to just either press some weights or get a good stretch or get a good run or whatever the case may be.
It helps you work through the emotions.
I guess it's the sweat.
Well, going outside is going to increase your serotonin, which is one of your happy hormones.
Right.
And then getting a workout in is going to increase your dopamine, which is also like a happy hormone. So yes, working out is like one of the best things, but so is nutrition. Like,
Right.
those two things go
They
hand
go
in
hand in
hand with dealing with it. But also, like, you have to do homework on your own. Like, is your environment a reflection of how you're feeling in your mind? And do you cope with how you're feeling in your mind by cleaning all the time? Like, they also told me I had OCD when they told me that I had anxiety because my way of coping with my stress was cleaning, which I don't think is a negative thing. Like, I don't have OCD.
No, it's not.
No, I don't have OCD so much so that that's all, like, if I'm staring over here at these medicine balls and they're out of order, that's all I can think about. Like, that would be where maybe, like, I need to take the next step and get some more help in that.
Right.
But I feel like now that I know the situations that I have been diagnosed with, I've discovered a better way of coping with all of those situations.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And it's very healthy figuring that out. I mean, just for your digestive system and just for you and yourself.
Yeah,
Like,
and your digestive system is another thing will get backed up if you're chronically stressed.
Right,
It will not
right.
function properly.
right. But I mean, talking to 70, 80% of people, they're either stressed about, money, relationship, job, and that kind of boils it down right there. Those 3 things, I
Yeah.
think. Is there anything else that you can add that? But like, I think it's money, relationship, and your job.
Yeah, that's the
People-
main thing that it talks about is family, what your bank account says, relationships,
Yeah.
and your job. That's the main thing that it talks about. But it affects it so much so it affects your spiritual side of things
Right.
too. Like, you're going to push
If you're
your spirituality away
right.
because you feel negative in a sense.
And
like,
you can't feel unhappy in all 3 areas like that.
no, but people do.
And they do. And how
Yeah.
do they deal with that?
Like,
how are you
stress-
going to get over?
Stress is at an all-time high. Well, most of the time when people are stressed, they're chronic overthinkers. Like, the typical thing that would be exciting to someone is going to be negative to a person with chronic stress. Like,
Right.
if you find out, I don't know, you're going to get this promotion,
Right.
rather than being excited about that, you're going to be more like, well,
Oh.
this is going to take so much more time away from my family. Like, yes, this is going to increase my bank account, but it's going to stress me out in every other aspect of my life.
Right. You're trying to find the negative.
Exactly.
And the positive that you're
That's
being blessed with.
that's the first thing that you're gonna do. You're gonna instantly go to the negative rather than thinking about all the positives that could come
that
from
come
this.
from it.
And you're thinking in your head like, oh yeah, I'm just a realist about all this situation. No, you're not. You're you have chronic stress. Like,
And thinking about all the good that can come from it, I feel like it's a big change in mindset. And it's hard for a lot of people to change their mindset.
It's not gonna happen
especially,
overnight.
especially when they've been this way their entire life.
Yeah.
Their parents have been like that. They watched their parents be like that.
But I
you know?
think the key is like finding someone who understands you
Yep.
and who can help you work through it. Whether that's your spouse, whether that's, you know, somebody who professionally does this for a living, but you have to find the right person because, like, for instance, I went to a counselor and she was great. She helped me come up with some great coping mechanisms. She helped me come up with some great ways to, like, calm down if I was going to have an anxiety attack. And knock on wood, like, I haven't had one since
Praise Jesus.
20...
3 years ago.
Yeah, no, it was way longer than that.
4 years.
I haven't had one since, like, 2018, I think. 2018, oh, no, it was my senior year. 2018, fall of 2018. That wouldn't be 4 years ago.
It was when
It's 2024.
2024, yeah.
But you're going to go through different periods of your life when you're going to be much more anxious. Like, obviously, if you lose someone that you love, like, that brought up a lot of demons in me again. Because I look at anxiety as, you know, a demon. Like, it is. It's trying to pull me into this negative mindset that I just stay in all the time. And here lately, I feel like I've been triggered a lot because it was just my dad's birthday, February 4th. And I've been, like, triggered by a lot of the outside entities or, like, a lot of the outside, you know.
Noise.
Yeah, essentially, like noise. And I think that the best thing that I've done for myself is, like, one, continue to work out, two, continue to get my good nutrition in, but that's not going to heal everything.
No.
So, like, honestly, my books bring me peace. Like, obviously the word brings me peace, but, like, reading books about how I can deal with it better or keeping my environment around me clean. Like, if my house is a mess, like, if he ever comes home and the house looks like a bomb blew up, it's because I'm not, like, mentally there. You know what I mean? I don't know how to
I mean,
describe
that explains a lot, though, because it's just like, you ever guys get to that point where it's just like, you're just like, F everything. You just like, I'm not doing shit. I don't want to do shit or do shit with nobody. You get to that point and it's just like, that could be a scary point to get to.
Well, one of the
And-
main things that people with chronic stress have is self-isolation. Like, when
Yeah.
they feel like that, they're going to feel like everyone around them can see it.
Yeah,
So they'll isolate themselves from everyone.
right.
Like, everyone.
And that, I mean, to get to that point, but also being able to get out of that mindset quicker, you know, is a big deal.
But it's harder now to get out of that mindset than it's ever been because we not only have, you know, the people that we see every day.
Yeah,
We have our family.
yeah,
You have social media
yeah.
on every aspect. There's not just one form of social
You're gonna
media.
see-
You
you're
got
gonna-
TikTok, you got, you know, Instagram, you got Facebook. Like,
That's why sometimes it's very important to just disconnect.
yeah.
You know, because if you're going through all these stress and you're going through all this anxiety, I mean, those things can kind of bring it back up.
But when it's people's job to
Right.
do those things, it makes it even harder.
It does.
So much harder.
So don't be fooled by people smiling all in your face if they seem like their life's all put together.
But
You know?
social media is not a portrayal of, like, everyday life whatsoever. Like, it's just, like, I like to look at it from an educational standpoint. I don't really follow anyone that's not going to educate me or that,
Motivate.
yeah, or, like, motivate me. So, like, muting accounts is one of the best things that you can do. And I talked a lot about this on my story the other day because when you look at these people and you think that their life is all sunshine and rainbows, you're going to react one of two ways. You're going to either be inspired or you're going to get envious. So if you're envious, you're going to start thinking negatively about yourself, which is going to make your stress even higher, which is what I've been talking with a lot of clients about actually, because they're feeling like they should be in a different standpoint in their life than where they're at, but they're exactly where they need to be, like, in this period of time in their
Right.
life.
But don't feel envious of anyone because you guys are exactly where you need to be in your life. And envy is the thief of all joy. So just understand, I mean, it all comes back to getting in the Word as well. I mean, that just really helps.
It's going to be
and
the
it's
only
a
thing
great
that
place
guides
to
you out.
start,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And if I were to encourage any of you guys listening today, get in your Word. It's a great place to start. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling the anxiety, if you're feeling overwhelmed with relationship, money, job, whatever it is, just get in your Word because it probably guide you to right what you need to hear.
The Bible app is the greatest resource too because you can go in there and you can search, you know, Bible studies on how to cope with stress, Bible studies on, like, how to deal with stress, Bible studies on how to get past stress. Like,
Right.
and those are great like wonderful, wonderful tools. Like sometimes you are gonna do your study, but you're still gonna face those things in life. But it's all
Mhm.
just about being 1% better every day.
Right, so
like this isn't gonna happen overnight.
Right. So we're not coming in here and telling you guys that we're perfect because we're far from perfect. But we're telling you that you're going to have to do something, get off your ass and figure it out for yourself as well. So if you are stressed, if you are overwhelmed about something, well, what the hell are you going to do about it? Because that matters as well. Are you going to just stay in that funk, or are you going to figure it out for the better of yourself and the better of your life, your children or your family or whoever you have around you? Because it's up to you at the end of the day.
And we understand that a lot of it comes from like past trauma.
Right.
And that's not something easily dealt with whatsoever. And we're not saying that it's easy. And I'm not knocking you if you do, take medication for it. Like
Right.
I probably should have,
Right.
maybe should still, but it was my choice, and it's always your choice on what you want to do with your life. No one's going to judge you, nor does anyone have the right to.
Right. They should not judge you.
For whatever you use to stay healthy in your mind, body, and spirit. But I'm just telling you from personal experience, different ways that I've kind of coped with mine. That whole fall semester, that last semester of school, that was scary. Like so I totally understand. I totally understand why people do take the medication, but I just didn't want to go that route.
Right.
So.
And got to go through it so we can talk on it so that we can help the people listening today. So just starting the word, get off your ass, and definitely understand that you have the power within. God will never put you in a situation that you couldn't come out of.
And he's trying to teach you something through all of this.
So open your eyes, open your ears, take your time and listen.
I've learned a lot more about myself than I ever could have imagined just going through this journey with myself. Because no one can help you out of this rut. You got to do it on your own.
Right. And we believe in you. And
And
never
you
forget.
got this.
You got this.
I jacked it up.
Appreciate you guys.
We'll see you next week.